Hello and welcome to Network Africa with me, Cynthia Arre. Now, after all the waiting and anticipation, many people were upset to find out that the elections would no longer hold on February the 14th. The polls have now been postponed by the Independent National Electoral Commission to March the 28th and April the 11th. The INEC chairman cited security reasons to justify the shift in the dates of the elections. Reacting to the developments, the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Anti-Corruption, National Ethics and Values accused those who are afraid of defeat at the polls as the architects of the postponements. Now, reactions also trailed from United States, expressing deep disappointment by that decision. In the words of the U.S. Secretary of State, quote, political interference with the Independent National Electoral Commission is unacceptable and it is critical that the government does not use security concerns as a pretext for impeding the democratic process, end of quote. Joining us now for more on the postponement of the elections is I'm being told that we lost that call, but we'll try to reconnect with the lawyer that we wanted to speak to. But in other news, UN-backed experts are encouraging governments to implement programs that use more treated water to help meet the needs of populations around the world. With only 20% of global wastewater in use, currently countries are being asked to see treated wastewater as a valuable resource for future development.
Urban populations are estimated to double in the next 4 decades in low-income countries, having only 8% of the required capacity to treat wastewater effectively. Wastewater Management, a UN water analytical brief produced by various United Nations agencies on behalf of UN Water, describes the damage being done to ecosystems and biodiversity as dire and warns of the threat wastewater will increasingly pose to human health, economic activities, water security, if not addressed.
Managing water is neither an issue only of access nor of treatment of wastewater. It is actually beginning to deploy an understanding that in the way we have developed our economies, we will simply run out of water. And that will impoverish hundreds of millions. It will lead to collapse of local economies. It will have terrifying impacts on the future food security unless we are able to articulate an agenda of opportunity and make it both economically, socially and environmentally attractive enough for governments, for industry, and perhaps most importantly, for local communities, for local government authorities to invest in it, because they are still the front line of innovation.
Wastewater management is said to have been neglected in a rush to commercialize drinking water production, a situation exacerbated by a fragmented water management system in many countries. Around 70% of industrial discharge in developing countries goes untreated. Eutrophication or water pollution from wastewater and agricultural runoff has, according to recent estimates, reduced biodiversity in rivers, lakes and wetland by around 1/3 globally.
In all history of humanity, we have reached 3.5 billion people in urban areas, and in the next 50 years we are going to double that. We are going to add 3.5 more billion people in the urban setting. That means that you can make even just a guess what is the infrastructural, management, logistics, legal, financial repercussions of such a huge human transformation.
Africa is heavily impacted by the problem of untreated wastewater. According to the 2014 African Water and Sanitation Report, more than 547 million Africans lack access to basic sanitation, a situation which is due to illness, premature death and school absenteeism is costing the continent billions annually.
This important gathering intensifies the dialogue on water and sustainable development at the start of a critical year for the future of our planet.
As countries prepare to finalize the next development agenda, which includes a proposed goal to ensure sustainable water and sanitation for all, it is hoped that the report will serve as a strong evidence that treated wastewater can have an important role to play in social, environmental, and economic development.
Now we're going to recap quickly on our top story. That's about the postponement of the general elections from February the 14th to March the 28th and April the 11th. A lot of reactions have come in, including that of the United States. And according to the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, political interference with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, is unacceptable, and it's critical that the government does not use security concerns as a pretext for impeding the democratic process. Joining us now via telephone is Jiti Ogunye, a legal practitioner. Jiti, thank you so much for speaking with us on Network Africa.
Yes, thanks for inviting me. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Now, how does the decision of INEC to postpone the election affect the electoral process?
Now, we need to be clear. INEC did not voluntarily take the decision to postpone the election. Rather, and contrarily, INEC was coerced, indeed forced by circumstances contrived by the presidency, including the military, to postpone the election. Indeed, INEC declared that the government stated that it could not guarantee the security of the election, and therefore INEC was forced to postpone the election. So that was the clarification. Now, of course, what INEC has been made to do, or forced to do, has serious implications, not only for the electoral process, but for the democratic process, of which the electoral process is a part. The electoral process, any electoral process at all, must operate and function with predictability, with certainty, with regularity, and with credibility. And all these have been halted by the rude intrusion of a contrived pretext. And I'm happy that the United States had identified that as a pretext that was contrived to then ensure that the election was postponed. Because what are the facts here? We had 4 years to organize this election. INEC was not told that the security situation in the Northeast will not allow this election to be conducted. Up to the last minute, INEC was assured by the security agencies that the election will be conducted.
Now, you just spoke about being happy about what the United States, when we just lost that call, we'll try to reconnect with Jiti Ogunye to hear more about the reactions coming from the international community, specifically concerning the postponement of the elections. We'll have to take a quick break now. When we come back, we look at the floods in Malawi. Please stay tuned.